Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Gamers, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. I know we've had a lot of these showcases. We're almost done. We have Xbox to go through today, which will be a long one, and then we're going to have Ubisoft, which will be posted likely later in the week. Things are going to get a little busy for me this week, so... And excuse my congestion and my sneezing, my allergies are just so fun to have. For any of you that have allergies, you understand. But we have got to talk about the Xbox Showcase. But for those of you that are waiting for some gameplay, I will also be having the Armored Core 6 initial look being posted. That is about 30-35 minutes with my thoughts at the end, so look out for that one if you're tired of hearing these. I wouldn't blame me at all. But yeah, we got to talk about the Xbox Showcase. Now, this is how you do a showcase, and this was 2 hours long. And I thought, man, 2 hours, like, okay, maybe there's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of stage time. No, it was actually a ton of flipping games, and a lot of big ones. And, I mean... yeah, so let's get into this quickly. So first they started off with a trailer of Black Ops 6. This is coming out October 25th. Oh yeah, let me lay out a little bit. Each game that I go over, I'll go over the release date. I'll go over what platforms it's going to be on. And if I miss that, it's not there or available. But I'll try to keep this consistent throughout. But anyway, Black Ops 6, October 25th. Game Pass Day 1, most of us already probably knew that. It'll be on all platforms, even past gen, except I think for Switch. There will be a later port, I believe, for Black Ops 6 coming to the Switch 2.0 when that shows up. And that'll be Nintendo Direct at the end of the month. We should hear more about that. Oh gosh, no, I got 2 more. I got Ubisoft and Nintendo Direct. I'm going to make it, folks. I'm going to make it. So will you. So yeah, everyone will get to play at the same time. We had Phil Spencer come out and talk about that. Everyone's going to be able to play at the same time. There isn't going to be any content that's going to be exclusive. No game modes that are exclusive. No cosmetic content. Everything is going to be exactly the same for everyone, which will be the first time in a really, really, really long time with PlayStation's exclusivity. And I actually really like this. Again, we're all gamers, and I'm honestly tired. I've been tired of the exclusive war. I think Microsoft's idea to make things not exclusive after a period of time is great, so they can continue to breathe life into those games, continue to get revenue too to further expand future projects. And PlayStation's starting to do this too now with PC. And so I think the exclusivity war is kind of going away. At least I thought it was, until we got the next one. So we're also getting Doom: The Dark Ages. This will be in 2025. This will also be coming to PlayStation at some point. This is not just going to be exclusive to Xbox, but the Dark Ages are representing like a medieval style, so there's still melee, there's still some firearms, of course, but now we have like a shield now with certain abilities or perks or certain skills. It has like saw blades on the end, like a chainsaw. And we're also getting a mech. I'm not even kidding. We're also getting, at least for one mission, maybe a couple, even a boss fight, we're getting a dragon to fly that breathes fire and stuff. So this is pretty over the top. We got to see a lot of gameplay, which was really nice. This will also be on Game Pass Day 1. And this will, again, be for Series X, PC, and PlayStation 5. Next, we got the State of Decay 3, which no release date, so I'm thinking later 25, maybe even 26. A lot of cinematics, but we did get some gameplay, too, which was really nice, which is third person over the shoulder. So, like, if you've ever played Sniper Elite, or you've ever played, like... The Last of Us. It's going to look kind of like that, right? It's going to have that type of feel to the game. There's also firearms and stuff, and what I really appreciate about State of Decay 3 is that it's an improvement from what we've already had. So we've had kind of like 2.5D type of style of games, and State of Decay 3 is going to be totally different. I think it's going to be more engaging, and it's going to be a lot more interesting for a lot of people. Next, we got to see Dragon Age: The Veilguard. So this one I knew nothing about. I was expecting like Dreadwolf maybe, but that's not what this was. This is coming fall of 2024. This is also going to be on PlayStation, Series X, and PC. There is kind of like a list of heroes which is interesting. They're all on a quest. Each one is going to have kind of like their own abilities or their own types. I know it's a horrible example, but it's the only one I can think of right now. But kind of like Redfall, kind of like where each one has different characters or abilities. I don't know if it's really going to be multiplayer. It does seem story-driven. God, I hope it is. I really hope it's not something like some kind of like hero shooter beater kind of a thing, okay, like Concord or something. I'm really, I mean, I don't want to pay for that stuff anymore. But we'll have to see. Again, we didn't really get any gameplay at this time. It was just cinematics. So the fact that we didn't get any cinematics at all is, or the fact that we didn't get any gameplay at all is kind of concerning because this is coming out literally in like maximum 6 months, and the fact that we don't have any gameplay is worrisome to me. So let's be cautious about this one. But again, yeah, no word on Dreadwolf. We didn't see that during the showcase. This also will not be on Game Pass. Next, we got to see Starfield Shattered Space. This will be later in 2024. Again, probably somewhere around, September to November, I imagine. I imagine it'll be ready for the holidays. We're getting new enemies, a new faction. We're getting a new planet and location. This is a big expansion. We still have to pay for the DLC. This isn't going to be like Game Pass ready. You still got to pay for it, which I think the DLC is, what, $30? $40? Correct me down in the comment. I forgot to look it up after my night shift. And it does look good. It does look very interesting. Something is definitely going on. I mean, Starfield's had this focus of kind of like exploration and go see what's out there and go explore the stars. Well, this has a totally different tone to it, where it's just kind of darker, it's mysterious, kind of a cautious feeling. We don't really know what's going on, and so this this I'm actually pretty excited. You probably will too, at least want to finish the main storylines in Starfield before you start this. So if there's any inkling at all that you might want to play or buy Shattered Space, I would probably make sure you beat the game first, at least the main quest line, right? We are also getting a new free update, which is out now. It's about 19 gigs. And again, we're getting new locations, new gear, new weapons. We're getting new bounties. We're also getting a Starfield store, kind of like Fallout 76 or like Skyrim. They added one to Skyrim as well. And this is Bethesda content as well as community creators content. And so there's a ton of stuff in there, and it'll continue to expand, I'm sure. Mods, I don't think we're getting mods yet. I think we will eventually, but we do have mod creator tools, which is wonderful. So this mod support is going to be coming at some point, just not quite yet. We also got to see lots of gameplay with Shattered Space. We got to see some gameplay, too, and what some of the cosmetics and weapons and gear are for this also free update. And just to reiterate, Shattered Space will not be with Game Pass. You'll have to buy the DLC separately. Next, we got to see Fallout 76. We got to see Skyline Valley. This will be June 12th, literally a couple of days. This will be on Game Pass, Xbox, and PC. So this will be a free update for, quote, us, basically, that are on Game Pass. Lots of gameplay. This is actually the first time we're seeing a map expansion. So the map as it is now, it's been that way for quite a long time, even before COVID. I mean, this game has been out here for a long time. It was also a huge bummer. It's taken them a long time to make Fallout 76 actually worth something and multiplayer, but a lot of people are enjoying this. They said like there's like 7 million people now that are like playing this or something like that. Don't quote me on that. There's a lot of numbers during the showcase, but we're also getting a new vault, 63. There's new enemies, there's new weapons. It maybe even looked like there was an arena in the game, which I don't know if it's PvP, PvP, or both. That was kind of interesting. But yeah, new map expansion, I think that is awesome. I think it's wonderful if they could continue to expand these games and expand the stories. And that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about stories. I'm not excited about looter shooters, okay? I've played enough Overwatch to last me a lifetime with how frustrating that game is, and I like X Defiant for what it is, and I like Warzone when I have other folks to play with, because it's about dying together in that game, just like Nazi zombies, right? And YouTube's probably going to strike me for that. Oh well, I don't necessarily filter myself here. I just say what I say, and hey, that's the channel. So welcome to it. So yeah, the Skyline Valley honestly looks looks pretty good. It will be quite a big expansion. I would also make some hard drive space for that if you're interested. Next, we got to see Expeditions 33. This will be coming out in 2025. It will be on Game Pass, Series X, PC, and PlayStation 5. It looks like this will be kind of like a turn-based party style, kind of like some of the older Final Fantasies that we used to play. You can have up to 6 in your party, and I'm sure there's gear, there's weapons, there's skills, there's maybe relationship stuff in there. We don't necessarily know, but I don't know if it's quite an open world, maybe a semi-open world where there's kind of like certain paths you can work through. You can definitely walk, like kind of by yourself and walk through stuff and explore and whatever, but I don't think it's quite true open world like what we think of it. So I'm not sure. We did get to see some gameplay, but it wasn't necessarily a ton. There was a lot of cinematics in there too. Cinematics look, oh my word, I mean flipping amazing. There's also going to be boss fights in the game. There could be also some maybe real-time combat too, some smaller battles, but again, we're not quite sure. It was kind of hard to pick it apart there. The story is interesting. At first, it was like, okay, this is going to be some society, survival builder, whatever, but that's actually not the case. The society is sending expeditions to go kill a god, basically, that paints death in their world, and every time she paints the goddess, people are dying in their society, and so each expedition goes and tries to kill her to try to save their people, and we follow Expedition 33. So this is actually pretty interesting. I am curious about this, and most of these games on Game Pass, I'm going to be showing them right here on the channel because I'm plugged into Game Pass. I'm enjoying it for what it is. I've had it for almost a year now, and yeah, for the price it is. Even if it was $20 a month, I would still be paying for it. I'm serious. There's so much value there, and I think Xbox has done a great job. So Expeditions 33 is founded by a new studio. It was in 2020, and this is their first title. And for their first title, it does look pretty small. We can't expect it to be kind of... or it does look pretty good. I will say that. Excuse me, get some of my words mixed up. This first title does look pretty good, but I think it's going to be a smaller game. And if you want to look up the publisher-developer, this is Sandfall and Kepler. Next, we got South of Midnight. This will also be coming out 2025. Game Pass, Series X, and PC. No PlayStation. This also will be on day one. Setting of like Louisiana swamps, maybe, or maybe Florida. Very much of kind of like a Louisiana style, more or less, of the world and stuff like that. We did get a teaser trailer a while ago, and then we've just had silence. And but yeah, we finally got to see this one. So we're having a modern-day gal that's looking for her mother, so it's all story-driven gameplay. There is going to be some exploration, but it's not open world, right? It's not what I would call necessarily open world, kind of smaller. But there's talking creatures, there's real-time combat, there's tools and weapons, there's infected areas for you to clear, mini-boss fights, and so, yeah, there's quite a bit to do here. Do I think this is going to be like a huge blockbuster game? No, but I think it'll be one worth playing that will kind of fill in some time, maybe while you're waiting for something else. There's also a new cinematic art style, which was very interesting. I thought at first it was for some frame rate issues with the game, but that's actually just how the art style is. It's like a very quick, still action type of game, and but yeah, while you're playing, it looks great. We also got to see a lot of gameplay, which was wonderful. Next is World of Warcraft: The War Within. August 26th, 2024, PC only. No gameplay, cinematic only. And it's like, man, that sucks. So far in the showcase, we'd gotten so many that had some gameplay, and unfortunately, this one didn't have anything. So, but there is that expansion. You can look more into it if you'd like. Next, we got Metal Gear Solid Delta. This was actually really surprising for me. Because, again, this is like an Xbox showcase. This is not an Xbox game. This is a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. And I'm going to get the name wrong. Is it? Yeah, Konami. They've just, ever since they took it over from Kojima, they have just absolutely butchered Metal Gear Solid. And, I mean, they screwed it real bad, folks. And they know that they basically now just have to do remakes. And starting with this one, I think, is great. Because this is actually the start of the story of Boss, and I think, oh yeah, dude, I am stoked. I am stoked. So, and if they continue to remake stuff chronologically, I would love that. I really would. We already got the Metal Gear Solid collection Volume 1, which is just one volume. I think it's just Volume 1. We got Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3. So if you want the original 3, you can get that. But yeah, Delta is definitely going to be a minimum of $70. It looks very, very good. The gameplay is fun. We got the David Hayter voice for Solid Snake, which is just wonderful. I mean, I am stoked, folks. Even though I've already played this game, I'm very excited. This also looks like it's an all in 4K resolution. Again, it looks very, very good. No frame rate issues. We got to see gameplay, which is great. There's no release date, and there's no showing of what platforms, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be on Xbox, PC, and on PlayStation. I do appreciate, too, during the trailer, even though it was pretty long and it was kind of showing the story, which is great, is that they didn't give much away of kind of like the twists in the game as you play. And so they are kind of catering this to like new players. And I really appreciate that's how they presented it. Instead of like, hey, the nostalgia, though that's certainly there, they're also like, hey, you might want to actually start playing. And if you've never played, I think it would be a great way to get started when this comes out. Next, we got to see Sea of Thieves Season 13. This is July 25th, all platforms, and coming on Game Pass. Doesn't, and again, this was interesting. It doesn't show at the end that it's on PlayStation or on Switch, but it is. And this is when I started realizing that it's like, wait a minute, are some of these games actually coming to PlayStation? And so I started taking a look, and they are. So I had to go back and redo some of this stuff. But yeah, I think the war is on between Xbox and PlayStation. Just when we thought it was kind of over, I think it's totally back on with the all of the stuff coming to Game Pass. I think it's incredible. The update for Sea of Thieves Season 13 lets you play as the villain on the seas, which is kind of a fun way to do it, and that's pretty awesome. So yeah, it will create more content. Don't forget, it is cross-play, so there's a lot of other players back on there if you'd like to jump in at some point. But yeah, we'll be getting that on July 25th, about a month and a half away. Next, we got to see Flintlock, Siege of Dawn, finally. These are the same developers that made Ashen, and I've showcased that a lot on the channel as I've done news and stuff, but just looking at the word Ashen is pretty boring. And so now I have like Halo, and I've done Forza, and I've done War Thunder, and like just something for you guys visually, right, to look at while I chat. But yeah, this will be like a Souls-light type of gameplay, so it's going to have some of those Dark Souls elements. It is, too, going to be challenging. We're going to have boss fights. I hope it's not like Lords of the Fallen, where it's really buggy, and the last couple boss fights are really buggy at the end. I really want this to be smooth, and I really love this type of genre, too. I really do. I want it to be good. But finally, we're seeing gameplay. It looks open world. There's a lot of action-packed stuff that we got to see for the trailer. There's bosses. And this, too, is a huge upgrade for A44. From Ashen to making this. I mean, this is just an incredible jump for them. So I do expect there to be some bugs. But, gosh, I hope it's not a Lords of the Fallen. That would be great. But we did get to see a lot of footage. This, too, is also coming on Game Pass. Xbox, PlayStation 5, PC, and this is also going to be day one on Game Pass. So next we got to see Perfect Dark Zero. No release date, probably 2026. And again, this is another game we haven't heard in a really, really long time. To finally see like a ton of gameplay for most of the trailer, for Rick, yeah, dude, it was great. So yeah, this will be a reboot. This will be on Game Pass day one, but that's as far as we know. No other platforms are confirmed. This probably, too, will be also available on PC, since they also have Game Pass over there. But yeah, we got to see lots of gameplay, some cinematics. Very intriguing. First person, there's parkour, there's stealth, there's gadgets, there's hacking. Okay, there was like a lot of stuff to this game. And quite actually excited for this one. Next, we got to see Fable 2025. PC, Xbox, and Game Pass on day one. This is, of course, a reboot. We got to see some gameplay, which is nice. We got to see some more cinematics. And they kind of told the story in a really good way, I feel like. And there's some relationship dynamics there that I'm also pretty curious about. So I'm excited for this, too. Again, I grew up with Doom. I grew up with Perfect Dark, and and some of these other games, and like Dragon Age and the Fallout series, and Fable too. And so we're just getting a ton of these older style games, and they're making them. They're either rebooting them or adding more games to the series, which I think is great. So the world looks very, very good. It also looks pretty open world, maybe even more than what we've had in the past. But yeah, again, we'll have to see. I would like to see some more gameplay, but it does look good. It does look good. And I gotta say, too, for most of these trailers that we saw, a lot of them said at the bottom, in-game visuals or whatever, in-game footage. And so I really appreciate that. Every once in a while it was in-engine footage, which means it's running off of a PC instead of actually running off of the hardware of the Xbox. So that's a little concerning because there could be frame rate issues there. There could be other problems, whatever. But, man, like, Fable is another one that I am stoked for. Next, we got to see Fragpunk. This is 2025. This is coming on Xbox and PC, not PlayStation. And this is not related to Xbox Studios. This is a free-to-play 5v5 hero shooter with cards that actually alter the game in real time for a limited period of time. Excuse me. So we got to see some gameplay. There was some cinematics, too, to kind of tell the story. And again, we got a lot of 5v5 shooters. And if there are 5v5s, I want it to be free to play because I'm tired of, wanting to pay for, well, like Concord, for example, okay? Like, I don't want to pay for that. There are so many now. There is so much saturation of the 5v5 landscape. I'd rather just have it be free, and no matter whether it's free or you pay for it, it's going to be monetized like crazy anyway. Like, we all know that, right? And so if it's actually free, it feels a little more fair there. But yeah, Fragpunk does look interesting, and the cards look interesting too. There's probably going to be some type of system where you work through these cards or work for them or you level them up or whatever. But they can do things like flip the environment upside down. You can make the heads really big of the enemies so that you can get easier headshots. All sorts of stuff. Like, it was actually kind of interesting. And I thought this was a third party that wasn't choosing to put it on PlayStation. So I don't know if there's some kind of a deal there with Xbox, maybe. But again, it's not coming on Game Pass. It's just available for Xbox and PC, but not PlayStation. So I just thought that was interesting. Next, we got to see Winter Burrow. This is on Game Pass, day one. And, yeah, it's kind of a nice little, like, survival exploration. Reminded me of, like, what's that? Don't Starve Alone or Don't Starve Together. Kind of reminded me of that. So if you're into those kind of games, that looked interesting. Next, we got to see Mixtape, which is some nostalgia of old music and kind of the old way of what it used to be like being a kid, folks. I'm so sorry for those that are 20 and under. You just don't know what it was like, how good it was. Same with gaming. But yeah, Mixtape, I think, will kind of be a fun one for some folks. This also, too, will be on Game Pass day one. And, but yeah, it does look like a short game, too. Next is Flight Simulator. Visually beautiful. Like, all of us know Flight Simulator is a really good one. This is November 19th, Game Pass, day one, Xbox and PC. Yeah. We all know what it's like, folks, right? It looks good. Life is Strange, Double Exposure. This is October 29th. This will be on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. No Game Pass. This is made by Square Enix. And Square Enix did announce, too, that they're like, look, we're going to stop making exclusive titles for PlayStation, and we're going to aggressively expand into all of the platforms that we can. And this is going to be one of them. And so from here on out, we can expect pretty much all Square Enix games are now going to be on all platforms. And if PlayStation wants to say, look, we still want this IP to be exclusive to us, Square Enix is going to say no. But yeah, Life is Strange Double Exposure looks pretty good if you enjoy those games. It did look visually good. It was very interesting. You're kind of solving like a murder mystery. Kind of like a Nancy Drew type of style, if you even know who that is. God, I'm aging myself. But yeah, it looked pretty good. Kind of a murder mystery, shorter type of game. And yeah, that's October 29th. Next, we got to see Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So we got to see extended cinematics here. We got to see a little bit more gameplay. This is October 24th, toward the end. This will be Game Pass Day 1, Xbox and PC, and it's confirmed through a report that it will be later on PlayStation 5. So I think we're going to start seeing some of this like later exclusivity disappearing, where it's like it's first going to be on Xbox, and then maybe after 6 months or 12 months or something, it'll come out to PlayStation. And I honestly think that's really nice, because with the deal that was made between Xbox and PlayStation during the acquisition and after it was all over, with Jim Ryan still being at the helm of PlayStation, the deal was that, look, you guys will get Call of Duty, but you're not guaranteed anything else. And the fact that so many of these games are coming still to PlayStation, I think is wonderful. Again, it's just, we're all gamers here. Can we just get over the fanboy garbage? And again, may the best company win. I think the competition is healthy, and having an open market is good for that, and that's what we're starting to get. But yeah, the battle is on. I'll get more into that toward the end. But yeah, the Indiana Jones Great Circle, it looks good. I'm excited to show you guys that here on Game Pass when it shows up. Next, we got to see Mecha Break. So we also already got to see this during Summer Game Fest. This will be 2025, but we got to see more this time. So there wasn't just a lot of cinematics. This time it was actually a lot of gameplay, which was really nice. This will be on Xbox, PlayStation 5, and PC. No Game Pass. There will be a beta later this year, and it looks like a multiplayer arena shooter. Now, I was kind of hoping for something a little more story-driven, a little more co-op even. Maybe like even MechWarrior 5 or something like that. But I don't think we're going to get that. Super incredibly fast-paced. Oh my word. Okay, if you blink, you're going to be dead. Like, the amount of action that they showed in this game is crazy. But yeah, that'll be coming in 2025 with the beta later this year. If you're interested, you can look them up on their website and put your application in. Next, we got to see Wu Chang. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Not really. Fallen Feathers, 2025. Game Pass Day 1, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. This will be a Sekiro-style type of game RPG. This is made by 505 Games, which I haven't really seen something from them in a long time. They got a lot of gameplay shown, too, which looked great. I mean, folks, man, us on Game Pass, we are going to be eating good. Let me just tell you, we are going to be eating good. Like, I'm so stoked for all of this stuff. But yeah, that'll be sometime in 2025. Avowed, 2024. Game Pass Day 1, Xbox and PC, no PlayStation. We got gameplay and cinematics. Skyrim style of gameplay. Okay, probably enough said on that one. It does look fairly good. But yeah, it will be something that for us at Game Pass folks to play, or another game you'd probably want to play to kind of fill in the time while you're waiting for something else that you're more excited about. But yeah, it does look pretty good. Next, we got to see Atomfall 2025, Game Pass Day 1, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. So we got to see some gameplay on this, and actually this is based off of a real event that happened in Britain in, I think, 1957, and that would have been during the Cold War. So I'm really curious actually what it is. I want to read up a little bit on the history of that event. Yeah, and then actually play the game and see what it's going to be like. So again, in 2025, folks, Atomfall. Next, we got to see a trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows, which personally I just skipped over this. I already seen enough. This is November 15th. And I am amazed that Ubisoft paid, along with all of the other third-party developers like Mecha Break and Life is Strange, Double Exposure, they all paid Xbox to put their game in the showcase and not PlayStation's. So I just think that's interesting. This won't be on Game Pass. It will be on all main platforms. And then Ubisoft Showcase is, of course, today. So I'm going to have Ubi's Showcase later this week. And you'll hear from me again. So let's keep on going. Oh, my word. Last page. Next, we got to see Stalker 2, September 5th, 2024. Game Pass Day 1, Series X and PC. No PlayStation. Finally, I have waited for this game for some time. I'm excited. I didn't necessarily play any of the older stuff, but just when Stalker 2 was first announced, I was like, ooh, that looks really interesting. It looks like a Metro type of style of game in Russia somewhere. And this is an alternative history of what happened at Chernobyl. And Oh man, yeah, I'm finally it's coming September 5th. I got a few months to wait. Game is a go, maybe. I'm ready to go. Finally. And shout out too to the studio that has been making Stalker 2. They have really had a heck of a time. The war in Ukraine has forced them to move. They've also had some setbacks with their data stuff and development of their game, and finally it's coming out. So congratulations to the studio. Thanks for sticking it out there. And people like myself, we're excited to play your stuff. Next, we got to see Sarah Bond come out, the president of Xbox. She came out with holiday consoles. So let me break all this down, and I'll also give you some expansion options too to expand your hard drive space if you want more already than what these are going to give you. So let's break this down. Listen carefully. So the Series X, we get a white 1 terabyte digital. That's going to be $450. Now, it's stupid. During the showcase, they didn't actually show the prices. I would have, so I had to look up this data myself. But yeah, $450 for 1 terabyte Series X digital, which is actually cheaper than the MSRP for a disc version. So if you want the disc version, hey, it's an extra $50. Go for it. The Series S white 1 terabyte digital is going to be $350. Don't forget there is a black version that already launched earlier this year. So that's already out. For performance, please buy a Series X. So stay away from the S. If you want the S as a cheaper option or like a Game Pass option or something, hey, you got to do what you got to do. But if you can just take time to go out there and save up a little bit longer for a Series S or save up for Christmas or something, I would do that, okay? There's plenty of used ones out there that you can probably get for about $400. And with more stuff coming to the market, it's just going to be more competitive. There's going to be more options out there, and that's going to generally drive the price down. Also, too, there's usually deals on Black Friday for these consoles. $50 off, or comes with some free games or whatever, or with Game Pass for like 3 months. So, bide your time, okay? It is nice that we're finally getting, the Series S is getting an upgrade to 1 terabyte, which is nice. But again, there definitely is a performance difference between the S and the X. And so I really suggest you just get the Series X if you're in the market for one. We also got a new black Series X with some green highlights on the bottom, which I thought was interesting. This is a 2 terabyte disc version for $600. So we're maintaining the disc drive, we're doubling the storage capacity, and it's going to be $600. Now, if you don't want to buy the bigger ones, but you're like wanting some more storage space, even if you got the bigger ones and you want more storage space, there are expansion memory cards out there, but they are specifically made by Seagate. Let me say that again. They are specifically made by Seagate. I got to talk about this every time we talk about these consoles because so many people still don't realize that you can't just go out and buy an expansion card. And it's because there is a special partition on the Seagate ones that allow you to play Series X games right off of the hard drive. Instead of having to transfer it internally, you can get these cards. And these cards have dropped by 50%, so they're getting pretty dang cheap, folks. I just picked up a 2 terabyte one used, works great, off of eBay for $195. And when they launched, they were $440. And the used ones, they work great, okay? Make sure the seller is a good quality seller, and you can get it for less than half of what it originally was. So the price of these has fallen a lot in 23 and continued through 2024. If you want new ones, the 512 gigabyte is probably roughly about $100. If you want the 1 terabyte, it's $150 for a new one. If you want the 2 terabyte expansion card, it's $250. So again, the price drop even for new ones has dropped almost 50%, which is wild. It's wild. The best bang for your buck is still the 2 terabyte one, and with all of this stuff coming out, you're going to want it because these games are going to be huge. Minimum, they're going to be, 60, 75 gigs. Most of these are probably going to be 100 or over 100. So yeah, space is going to be valuable. And I would buy one now before the big rush shows up later this holiday, because I think there'd be more of a rush to buy the stuff. There's already kind of a rush happening on eBay through the auctions and stuff, is that people are kind of buying these up a little higher, above $200 now. And so, the demand is going to increase a little bit. That's at least what the market's showing right now, and I think it'll get worse as we get closer to holidays. But yeah, check for eBay if you want a cheaper one. Again, they're roughly $200 for a 2 terabyte, and if you want a new one, they're also available for cheap too. So, and these would be certainly cheaper. And now, all versions of the Series X, all versions of the Series S, they all have this slot for these expansion memory cards by Seagate. So, doesn't matter what you buy, you can you can shove an expansion memory card in there, which is nice. Next, we got Gears of War E-Day. So this is actually going back as like the prequel before Gears of War 1. We're actually seeing the events of the day as it unfolded when they got breached with those aliens, right? This is going to be Game Pass Day 1. There's no release date, so I'm guessing 2026, just like Perfect Dark. And we got cinematic only, but it is so flippin' wonderful that we're finally getting another Gears of War game. I'm so excited. Because this entire showcase, I mean, there's just tons of stuff I want to play. So let's get into my thoughts of the showcase. Rating an A. I mean, it was so good. It kept my attention. It was fast. The pace was steady. There was no third-party ads, like buy a monitor or DoorDash. Okay, like at the Game Awards or whatever, or Summer Game Fest with Jeff Keighley. I understand he's got to make money, but oh my word, like, yeah, this was so good. Most of the trailers had gameplay, which was so great. 2 out of the 27 of this list didn't have gameplay. Like, think of that. There's only 2 of them, right? Everything else had gameplay, including the third-party stuff that it is not Xbox. They just decided to show stuff here. That is extremely impressive. Most of the games, too, are coming to Game Pass on day 1. 19 out of 27 on this list. So the ones that aren't is Dragon Age: The Veil, Shattered Space, the DLC, the World of Warcraft DLC, Metal Gear Solid Delta, Fragpunk, Life is Strange, Mecha Break, and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Everything else is coming to Game Pass. It is unbelievable. So most of these games are coming out within 18 months. We're getting 19 games, roughly, in 18 months. So you're going to be getting, on average, 1 a week. And if you even want 3 of these, it's going to pay for itself. Because right now, Game Pass is $205 if you pay for $17 a month for the year, $205 for the year. And then if you take out what multiplayer costs, which is $60, you're now looking at $145 a year to have access to over 500 games on Game Pass, plus all of this stuff that's coming. And no, this is not a paid promotion. I just really enjoy the service because I see the value in it, especially after the showcase. Oh, my freaking word, folks. Like, yeah, I'm so stoked for this. With the games that are coming in 18 months, there are 3 that aren't, which is State of Decay, Perfect Dark, and Gears of War. These 3 will likely be, for sure, very at the end of 2025, maybe even 2026. I would expect that. Quite a few third-party games were showed here instead of on the PlayStation Showcase. Even some of these were like world premiere, first time being showed off, and they chose the Xbox Showcase. They even skipped Summer Game Fest, which that's kind of like the big one, right? That's actually got the most views on it on YouTube. They got like 6 million views on Summer Game Fest, but they chose Xbox instead. And I just think that's, again, really interesting. Companies choosing Xbox right now. There's a ton of legendary IPs. I mean, we had Doom, we had Indiana Jones, which is great. We had Fable, we had World of Warcraft again. We had some more expansion for Sea of Thieves, which is crazy. It's been 13 seasons. I mean, there's a lot of old legendary stuff here that, again, we haven't seen in a while. And some of these games, too, were announced, and then we just didn't hear anything for, like, a year or 2 years. Like Flintlock, Siege of Dawn. It's like, where the frick is this game? Same with Stalker 2. Where is this game? And now we're finally getting dates. We're finally, getting some good story, story play or whatever, some gameplay. I'm trying to say the right word, folks. I'm tired. I know you guys forgive me. I love you guys too, absolutely. But it's just incredible. Like, we're getting all of these really good legendary IPs. I do wish we still saw Halo. Okay, I still wish we saw something for there. You know, there's others out there if I had time to think, which I don't, because I don't want to drag this on forever. But thinking about PlayStation's showcase, where were theirs? Where were their legendary IPs? Like, they didn't have any. With the latest one, you know, on, I think it was May 26th or the 30th, something like that, they had Lego Horizons, okay? They're not the type of game us Horizon players would be wanting. Astrobots, okay, yay, I guess. And then Silent Hill 2 Remake. We didn't have any Judas. We didn't have any Death Stranding. That was showed in the previous one in January. So... But between the two showcases, it's like, okay, we already got Stellar Blade. What else is coming this year? Not much. Not much. It's really kind of disappointing. But, like, where was their Crash Bandicoot, Sly Cooper, Twisted Metal, Gran Turismo, Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, Shadow of Colossus, Jet Moto, Siphon Filter, G-Police, Uncharted, Killzone. Oh, my word, Killzone. I'd love to see that come back. Infamous, again, another wonderful one. Colony Wars. Where is I'm choking on air. Where is their legendary stuff? Instead, they're like, ooh, Death Stranding 2, Stellar Blade, Silent Hill 2 Remake, and Concord. I'm not as excited. I'm not as excited for that kind of stuff. It's not because I don't have a PlayStation, full disclosure here, folks, but it's because I want the older stuff. It's like, do they not understand that the gamers that grew up in the 90s and 2000s are now older? Do they not understand that? I think Xbox does. They've been buying a lot of these studios, and it's like, we're getting Fable, we're getting Gears of War, we're continuing with Doom, we're continuing with Fallout stuff. I mean, that's some of the legendary IPs. I'm sure they're working on the next Halo game too. But we just don't have an announcement yet. But yeah, this showcase was so good. Another thing I want to mention is that the Xbox console is now a peripheral of Game Pass. Game Pass is the future. So let me say that again. Xbox console is now the peripheral of Game Pass. Their focus was Game Pass. Again, it was like Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, all day one. It was insane. It was insane. Again, if you're paying $17 a month, excluding the multiplayer, $145 a year for the 19 of these games that are coming out roughly, maybe more like 15 of these games, or 12. You're going to be eating good instead of paying $60 or $70 for the price tag for a lot of these. You won't get early access, but I can wait 3 days. I can wait 5 days. It's fine. I don't need to spend that extra money. There's really not a lot of value in it for me. It doesn't add anything to the game. Just lets me play it, quote, early, which is actually the real release date. You just get to play it late if you don't pay. And you get to skip the server issues, which is great. Lately that's just been horrible with every single game pretty much with early access, quote unquote, is the servers are just trash. So you just burn your money and you can't get refunds and your money is just wasted. But yeah, people were having trouble understanding this, and I was trying to promote this on the channel, is that Xbox is no longer focusing on selling consoles, and they've made that very clear since last year, even during the court battle that they had with the FTC and Sony, etc., okay, is they are focusing on Game Pass. They've been building it since like 2016, and look at where it is today. Look at what's coming. It's amazing. And even to the point we got to see on Summer Game Fest, PlayStation is starting to understand, hey, we need to actually put some stuff on PlayStation Plus to start competing. But we've already gone over some of that of why they can't. Again, some more podcasts if you're willing to listen. Link in the description below. But yeah, they can't compete because they'll lose too much money, like with God of War and Spider-Man 2 and etc. And The Last of Us. They need to keep those individual. They're trying to bring them to PC, but now you have to have a PSN account, and so no, I don't want to flip and do that. They're just trying to boost their numbers up and fake them upward. But yeah, with the quality and the value of Game Pass, it's going to sell consoles. And even if it doesn't sell as much and people have PC, you're opening up that market to 1 billion people that can potentially buy Game Pass. And so we're currently at 35 million on Game Pass right now, and I guarantee you it's going to go up from here. Because if you don't want even just 2 of these games, well, let me say, if you want at least 2 of these games, it pays for itself. It really does. And this is just stuff that Xbox is showing us that's going to come on Game Pass. It's not including all of the other third-party stuff that comes throughout the year. I mean, and we also have EA Play. So we get the Battlefields, we get the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, and we get other games that are with EA. If you're into sports games, well, there you go. EA's making some of that stuff, making it available to you. Madden and NHAA and whatever else. MLB The Show, I think, is another one. Like, they've partnered with EA Play for quite a long time, and again, you don't get these games day one, but when EA decides to put them on their lower tier service, you get them for free on Game Pass. And what if Xbox made a deal with Ubisoft to say, hey, you don't get these day one, but you get these in 6-12 months? Could you imagine? Could you imagine all of like Assassin's Creed games, which a lot of those are already on Game Pass anyway? Xbox pays for those. But could you imagine getting Outlaws? Could you imagine getting Assassin's Creed Shadows? You're getting, the Madden stuff and NCAA and the Battlefield, and and then you're getting all of the Xbox stuff. And then, too, we have examples of companies telling Sony, look, we're not going to be exclusive anymore, or companies choosing to show their stuff here at Xbox Showcase instead of anywhere else. World premiere it. I think the industry is shifting. I can't scream that loud enough, folks. I am trying to tell you guys that PlayStation, that Xbox is going to win if they can do a good job with Game Pass. And I've said it in a previous one, wherever it is in the deep dark archive of my channel, that if they do Game Pass well, they're going to make all of their money back and then some. The revenue will go crazy. Because, again, we've already figured out, thanks to Microsoft, with other software and programs, is that software is more, it has a much better margin than selling hardware. And we haven't even got into Xbox making a mobile store, which Sony is now having to make one too. They announced that after Xbox did. Sony is trying to catch up, and I think this showcase proves it. And this showcase was so much better than Sony's by far, and it was also better than Summer Game Fest. It was just so good. So thanks for listening, folks. Oh, yeah, one thing I did want to mention. I do understand the competition between Sony and Xbox, but I want them to play nice, because PlayStation's and Xbox's showcases, even though the game was available on their competitor console or competitor's platform, they didn't show that at the bottom at the end of a trailer. And I think they should, okay? Even for us, it's a lesson we should take. Even if we're competitive, we should continue to be kind, okay? We shouldn't be mean. We shouldn't be doing business that way, because our reputations matter just as much, even more, in some industries. So thanks for tuning in, folks. You can always follow me here at Gaming Garbage 22, and also on Twitch, also at Don't Tread on Thee. And don't forget our Discord server where you can chat, mingle, all that good stuff, but also find others to play with, regardless of game, regardless of platform. We have voice channels set up for you there if you're interested. So link in the description for that as well. So, man, thanks for tuning in, folks. You're also going to get some Armored Core 6 initial look if you're interested in that. Look for that one. That'll be dropping roughly around the same time today. And then we got Ubisoft. Oh, my word. Tomorrow, Ubisoft Showcase. And then we get Nintendo Direct at the end of the month. And then I think I'll be done. Oh, my gosh. I think I'll be done. And in my opinion, I wish we had E3 back. I was really sad to see E3 go. It was always a dream of mine to go see it, but we have way too many showcases now, especially if, like, Nintendo, Xbox, and Sony are all saying, hey, and Jeff Keighley, we're going to have 2 showcases a year. Oh, my freaking word, dude. Like, yeah. And this is why I do it. I consolidate it all for you guys right here on the channel. So hopefully you guys are doing well. Enjoy your summer, and I'll see you guys on the next one.